to now become proliferative, and then they're going to differentiate. So that's what happens when you delete the transcriptional repressor in the adult male stem cell. And so then over time, if you just look at all the live B cells, and at different times after tamoxifen, you see that in the conditional knockout, you're going to get fewer and fewer of these newborn neurons that generate, presumably because you're depleting the stem cell ability to activate and generate new neurons. So that and other work that I don't really have time to share, but it's all published, we came to this idea that it's a very good candidate, master negative regulator of adult neurogenesis in the neurogenic area. So based on that, we thought maybe we can take this to a non-neurogenic area. And actually there's a little bit some evidence to suggest that this might really work. So it was actually published in 2004 from Sadam Majandar's group, C15, C12 myoblast culture. But if you actually generate a red C16 version in a retrovirus and infect them in C12 cells, that they see conversion of C12 myoblast to these neuronal white cells. And then they confirm that you can transplant these cells into the cerebellum and they would fire and have some physiological properties of neuronal cells. So this is basically just taking just the DNA binding domain express, lacking those repressors, and then putting it to a very strong E16 activator. So based on this, we thought we could possibly start with these astrocytes and be able to then transduce and overexpress a short list of candidate transcription factors, including Rec C16, and also maybe doing this in a Rec conditional knockout background. So we could do both approaches of removing the repressor and converting the repressor to an activator. And then in parallel, we could try some of these other published candidates like that are shown here. So this is not a high frequency, this is really just a focused candidate approach. And the idea is we would take primary cortical astrocytes from P15 and maybe later on try also adults. So we've been testing both. The astrocytes from P15 mice or rat grow very well. But from adults, they basically, you take them out, they proliferate maybe a limited period of time, and then they just stop growing. So it was a lot more trickier to do this in adults, and we can results that maybe that's not totally necessary to do that at this point. Let's start with the P15 because it allows us to do more deep experiments. And then we can try to get this kind of differentiation with candidate factor. And then our first thing we look at is immunochemistry with antibodies against the markers of neurons and astrocytes, and then the ones that look like they're promising will corroborate this with electrophysiology, and then further transplantation. So that's our in vitro approach. And so that's kind of ongoing. And then let me tell you kind of what we're thinking for in vivo approach. So I had the fortune to collaborate with actually an AAV biologist back at Salk, and then now with Mario, but one of the things we've learned is that AAV9, that if you deliver it IV intravenously, that it can actually target astrocytes in vivo. So let me go to sort of that slide. I think I turned it out of order. So yeah. Okay. So this is the idea. So that we basically inject AAV9 clean GSP into the jugular vein. So here's like a cartoon of a mouse, and this is kind of the site we would inject right around there. So you make a small incision, you reveal the jugular vein, and it's under like a muscle or ligament, so it doesn't just completely bleed out. And then you just give a small injection and of AAV into, and it's a piece of true puff. So you need a lot, but you don't need as much as you would if you're injecting an adult mouse. And then in a very, very small pilot study, and these are blocked red conditional allele. So the clean with the GSP, then we would look at the GSP positive cells at 2, 4, 6 weeks post-infection. And as I mentioned, and some of it is still very much ongoing, is first we want to validate that they do, through the IV route, preferentially infect astrocytes and not neurons. And if they do infect neurons, we want to understand, where that is. And then we want to confirm with astrocyte markers. We're also doing this in the background of an astrocyte reporter now to see exactly how much overlap there is with AAV-targeted astrocytes and, a reporter expressed from an endogenous promoter. So this is just sort of what it looks like. So this is like a more of a low magnification of the cortex, and these green GSP positive cells have this star-shaped stellate astrocyte morphology. And we then stained with the antibody, the GFAP, and we do find that some of the GSP cells are in fact co-localized with an astrocyte marker. We know that the GFAP antibody doesn't work, and it doesn't see 100% of the GFAP positive astrocytes in the cortex, so that's why we're switching to the GSP reporter route to confirm this. And so that's our in vivo approach, and we're hoping to now deliver this, to try this out with additional transcription factors in various AAV vectors with collaboration with Maro's lab. Okay, and let me just go back to the in vitro a little bit, because this was our pilot study just to see if Rec has any ability to convert an astrocyte-like cell to a neuronal-like cell. So we're doing this with primary astrocytes now, but in the very beginning what we actually first did was we isolated neural stem cells from our conditional knockout line, and so before Cree, they're wild type, right? And so then when we isolate neural stem cells in proliferating conditions, we have a dish, and they actually normally grow like balls, but when you inflate them and they flatten out, and they're not expressing neuronal and astrocyte markers at this time point, then you differentiate them with a combination of factors that promote astrocyte differentiation, so LISDNT, which is a high percentage of serum, and over, I would say 1 to 2 weeks, many of the cells start, I don't know if you see, but they start expressing, sort of GFAP astrocyte marker, and they look like star-shaped cells. So some of them are also expressing the neuronal marker. So this condition is not astrocyte, it doesn't do 100% astrocyte differentiation. So there are a few neurons or neuronal cells that are there in the culture. And then the idea at that point we would infect cells with Cree virus, and we did that, and what we found at least at 1 week is that the majority of the cells start changing their morphology, and they start mostly expressing the neuronal marker, although some express both the neuronal and the astrocyte marker. This is just to confirm the extent of knocking down or knocking out of the Rec by qPCR. So then if you look at the percentage of marker positive cells, and again this was just preliminary study, just we looked at 1 week and 2 weeks, and the left-hand side is just the quantification of the Cree, the cells infected with the Cree GSP, compared to the cells infected with the control GSP. And what you see at one week post-infection is that the light color is sort of washed out here, but there's a white bar. That's just GFAP marker alone, so that should be just the astrocyte. Then you've got the middle, the light gray, which is just the FusionA1, the neuronal marker alone. And then the third bar, which column is the dark gray. That's the cell growth marker. And so you sort of see, first I want to point out that you do see an increase of the neuronal markers, the pre at 1 and then again at 2 weeks, compared to the GFAP control. But interestingly, you also saw that growth markers that at both the 1 week and the 2 weeks. And I don't know that what's happened with longer time point, if that population would go down, which is what I would expect. Or if they're just, hanging out there and happy and, they will die. So I'm interested that observers are confused. They're not sure if they should, down-regulate their astrocyte state, but they are possibly, starting to select their neuronal state. So we sort of thought, it's possible that not removing the repressor of neuronal differentiation from an astrocyte, maybe only sort of partial trans differentiation. Maybe we need additional repression of the glial state, or we need additional inducers of the neuronal state. So it could be one or more of these possibilities. And remember, these are also starting to be with neural stem cells, differentiated astrocytes. Ideally, we would start with a primary astrocyte, and then we can offset the caveat of contaminating neural stem cells in the culture that are just differentiated into neuronal cells. So our future plan on this project is the following. We want to continue our in vitro screen to identify and go from like a large list of factors to a smaller list. But once we get these smaller list of factors, we want to directly go in vivo using AAV that that we can specifically target astrocytes in the cortex and screen for direct neuronal trans differentiation. And so then that's why these exist. So then I'm switching gears a little bit, and this is where I wanted to kind of get to this notion that sort of there is a dark side of neural stem cells and neurogenesis that maybe we should pay a little bit more attention to. And so on this, I guess I want to get different words. Like, here's this one. So remember I showed you that in the normal case, there's all these living cells, they're always lighting up in the inner granule cell layer, and they contribute to the glial neurons, the light, and they're important for hippocampal and learning and memory. And particularly, they're important for separating or distinguishing better differences in patterns. Okay, so they might not be totally required for hippocampal memory, but it looks like the more complex the task is, or the more similar the objects are that one needs to distinguish, that's when the newborn neurons in the hippocampus sort of come out and reveal their role as. And so in the late 90s, people have already found that after a very high intensive seizure activity called status epilepticus, that you get this massive proliferation and you have ectopic granule neurons that de novo in the hippocampus. And so because a large percentage of epilepsies involves the hippocampus, they're classified as temporal lobe epilepsy. And in fact, a lot of the epilepsies that are resistant to drugs are temporal lobe epilepsy. We became really fascinated by the connection of adult hippocampal neurogenesis and epilepsy. And work that we published a while ago, we showed that if you actually induce the seizure neurogenesis in rodents, in mouse and rats, and you actually gave the animals a typical acetylase inhibitor like valproic acid, you can suppress this abnormal proliferation and ectopic neurogenesis, and you can improve the hippocampal learning and memory deficits that's associated with the seizure animals. So that's kind of the background and gave us some idea that of this hypothesis is that these acute seizures, and in people, what might trigger this? Okay, they see the most common causes are like trauma, traumatic brain injury, motorcycle accidents, really bad trauma to the brain and skull. Genetics is also an underlying predisposition, and there's also possible some connection to autism or febrile seizures. Is some individuals high fever they trigger status epilepticus. And so the thing that happens is that after the first seizure, the first status, nothing happens. So there's a period of waiting period, it could be years, and before the next seizure, and then instead of 1, 2 or more unprovoked seizures, now it's epilepsy. So what's going on in that waiting period? Okay, and if we can understand and uncover those mechanisms, that maybe we can identify what our target as anti-epileptogenic, because all most of the drugs now are anticonvulsive. They are not designed to be classic anti-epileptogenic. And the reason probably is because we don't have a good enough understanding of what are the mechanisms that lead to epilepsy, as opposed to, and so we don't really have a way of basically finding those drugs. And so we're hoping to tap in by studying this aberrant neurogenesis, which is hallmarked by apic proliferation, basal dendrites that project normally, abnormally into the hilus and not out to the molecular layer, things like that mean we can identify these anti-epileptogenic targets. And then also a common comorbidity is these cognitive changes, and maybe we can also find new classes of drugs to treat the cognitive deficits in epilepsy. So this all gets back to what is the role of hippocampal neurogenesis in epileptogenesis. So this is sort of controversial. So some of the studies suggest like if you ablate cells, dividing cells with ARSC is an antimitotic drug. If you kill the dividing cells, now after seizures, you see a decrease in the number and frequency of these spontaneous occurrences. But other studies show that if you ablate neurogenesis before seizures, you don't affect the rate of seizure progression and iteration. So what is it? What's the answer? And one of the issues with these studies is that the delay they were late is non-specific, right? So whole brain irradiation, whole brain infusion of ARSC, and I already told you that after seizures, maybe I didn't tell you, but there's a lot of this reactive astrocyte proliferation. You're going to kill those astrocytes that proliferate. So you're not really specifically testing just the role of the neural stem cells in the newborn neuron. So we thought we would take a genetic approach, and we took advantage of the transgenic mouse that expresses thymidine kinase behind the nestin promoter. And using this strategy, we can deliver ganciclovir. Here's the animal ganciclovir. Once they see a cell that expresses thymidine kinase, ganciclovir will be phosphorylated, and it will kill that cell. It will cause the cell to commit suicide. And it's restricted to just that cell. So then theoretically, then all of the dividing cells will be taken out, and their progeny, but the quiescent stem cell will be left intact. And so then using this method, the mouse, we confirmed that after 4 weeks of ganciclovir treatment, this is the granule cell layer here. This is a vehicle treated mice that have lots and lots of these. This is a stain of double corneal, which marks the newborn neuron. That the majority, maybe 95% of the double corneal neurons are related. And so that kind of suffices as a way of, for us, that we can specifically genetically just kill these new neurons. And some of them are still there, okay, so keep that in mind. But most of them are gone. Okay, and so then our idea is then we would do this in two different cohorts of mice, and then we would induce status epilepticus, and we use pilocarpine, and pilocarpine is an acetylcholine receptor agonist. And those are, of course, those receptors are found throughout the body, but we can block the peripheral nervous system first, if it affects on pilocarpine. So only the brain, essentially, will be responsive to pilocarpine. So we get like whole brain status epilepticus, and we let the animals have these seizures for 3 hours, and then we stop the behavioral seizures with diazepam. So then now after we terminate seizures, they stop seizing, and then at about 4 weeks later, actually about 2 weeks later, they'll just have spontaneous seizures, unprovoked. We catch them, one mouse will have one a day or two a day. So we know that the mice are now having are in this, begin the waiting period. And then we want to look at measure and quantify their seizures. So we have to implant electrodes at about 4 weeks, and then we can measure EEG, brain EEG, for 2 continuous weeks with the video monitoring. So we knew that this 4 weeks time point after status was probably good to start measuring EEG because at histological level, we confirmed that a lot of the ectopic cells that are normally found in the vehicle in the thyroid region are severely reduced. But they're not gone. They're still, they are severely reduced, and this is probably a consequence of these ablated new neurons. So we'll go ahead and start recording. And these are mice that are connected to a cable. They're free moving, and they have 4 different electrodes, one in each hippocampus, and one in the frontal and the fourth in the occipital cortex. So then here is a section of the hippocampus. You can see this is typically where the electrodes are. These wires implanted, these are just electrodes, sort of in CA3. Okay, and so here are just some represented findings. This is 4 different electrodes, cortical and then 2 hippocampal. This is no epileptiform activity. This is a very obvious, EEG seizure on all 4 electrodes. So that's called a generalized seizure. And sometimes you'll only see the hippocampal ones, or sometimes you'll only see one or the other. Those are partial. So we literally manually going to count every seizure episode and blind it and do this, EEG data, over 24 hours a day for 2 straight weeks. So what we found was very exciting. So we did find a reduction of these spontaneous EEG seizures in these GPD treated mice. And I'm showing you the cumulative spontaneous recurrent seizure count, FRS count, after the first 3 days, the next 3 days, the next 9 days, 3 days, and so on and so forth. And what you can see is there's a reduction with the GPD mice up to about 14 days, but at the last couple of days, it barely is statistically significant. And we're thinking the one possibility is that maybe because that there's still new neurons that we haven't completely ablated. That's one possibility, so they're still there. They were sort of there, you can see at the histological level. The other possibility is that there's a population of dividing cells that are born post-status that we did not ablate, and those could also be contributing to some of the EEG spontaneous seizures. So we're going to try a paradigm where we can ablate cells, kill them before status as well as after status. Interestingly, although we saw a decrease in the number of spontaneous seizures, we did not see a change in the duration of each of the spontaneous seizures. And so then finally, I want to show you what does this mean in terms of the behavior of the mice. So as I mentioned, a lot of common comorbidities for epilepsy, especially ones that involve the temporal lobe and hippocampus, is learning and memory deficits. So we decided we wanted to take these mice and go through the whole experimental scheme to also do perform behavior. But we also wanted to look at just general activity and also some tests for anxiety, because the other thing is that epilepsy is associated with depression and anxiety. So we wanted to see if we could sort of model this dependent in our mind, and then go on to hippocampal dependent learning and memory. So actually, I'll summarize because I'm running out of time a little bit. We did find that the mice were less active, the seizure mice, compared to sham mice. But the one maybe they would have seizures all the time. Of course they're less active. But actually, when we looked at their activities throughout 24 hours, it turns out they're most active at 4 and 5 in the morning. And they continue to be active for about 2 hours, and then they gradually decline. So we learned that their circadian rhythm is really disrupted. And so then we shifted their behavior testing to 5 a.m. And then we were able to do testing and find that they could do behavior tests. It's just you have to find the right time when they're more active. And we also found that in the open field and light dark tests, so normally mice, they're afraid of being in the middle of a big field. They want to be at the edges, and they also don't like to be in light, because I guess the hawk can fly over and see them and eat them. So the normal mice, go to the periphery, go to the dark side of the box. But our seizure mice, in general, they didn't even want to go into the field to explore. They just stayed at the periphery. But interestingly, there's no difference with GPD. So they're anxious, but it looks like ablating new neurons doesn't affect that anxiety. The most interesting thing we saw was with the novel location, which is a hippocampus-dependent test, as well as novel object, which is a non-hippocampus, it's a pure cortex dependent test. And this is how the test works. So the mice, they're put in a box, and they're allowed to affirmate for a period of time, and then two objects are placed in, the same object, and so they're allowed to sniff and explore them, touch them with a whisper, familiarize. Then after 1 hour, the location changes, and the mice are put back in. And if you have an intact hippocampus and new neurons there, you go and explore a little bit longer, right? Because, they'll move to different place, that's interesting. And then what happens is you take out one of the objects and you put in a different object, and that is a test for the cerebral cortex, which is a non-hippocampal. It's more of just recognition of objects as opposed to a memory of the location where those objects were. So using this paradigm, we can sort of separate out, the two regions. And so then, if the mice are preferring this new location because, it's not interesting, they should show a preference ratio more than 50%, right? Because 50% means that the new location is, they go there just as much, they explore for just as much time as the previous location, meaning they don't recognize the new location. But these sham mice, they have a higher than 50% preference ratio, meaning that the hippocampus is preferring the new location. And, there's no difference in views on GPD. But our seizure mice, the vehicle-treated group, they have about a 50% average preference ratio. So this is consistent with seizure mice having hippocampal deficit in learning and memory. And the most exciting is that in the GPD group, they now have this increased preference ratio to 0.6 or even higher. So they almost like the sham mice. And that's correlated with their reduced seizures that I showed before. And I think the bottom line is on this novel object test, which is non-example dependent, the sham might have this higher preference ratio as you would expect, and the seizure might have deficit because we do know that the periodic cortex suffers a lot, have a lot of cell death in that region, and apparently GCD treated mice ablated ablation of new neurons into external effect in this task. So it's telling us that the ablation of neurogenesis, prior to status, enhances learning and memory in a hippocampal specific way, dependent way, but not generally in other regions. So we're following up to summarize. I think we've shown pretty convincing evidence that the population of new neurons after one type of injury, like seizure activity, could contribute to spontaneous recurrent seizures with some of the pathology that's associated with epilepsy development, and by basically by correlating this with the behavior, that maybe this is also a way of reducing one of the comorbidities that is common with epilepsy. And so now in the future we have a lot of more detailed histology plan. We want to do the ablation neurogenesis before and after seizures and evaluate spontaneous recurrent seizure. We want to identify the molecular mechanism for just reducing epileptogenesis and improving hippocampal function. Maybe it involves less again, and the slide gets previously, but we did find that pilocarpine induces less mRNA and protein levels in the granule cell layer at this very short time point. So maybe that's involved in some of this less dependent gene expression, and maybe we need to block some of that. So we can use that conditional knockout to try to explore this. But other mechanisms have been suggested to be important for epilepsy, like mTOR and GABA excitation. Those are also involved in those new neurons. So maybe what we did by removing them genetically is by basically reducing mTOR or reducing GABA excitation. And so ultimately for translation and towards humans, we would like to find drugs that are more relative to this epileptogenic process. So we're hoping that this will help convince people in the field that we need to look right after status, not wait years and years and years, but really that those initial neurogenesis changes are really important. Okay, so finally, I want to acknowledge some of the people that did the work. So all the reprogramming project I talked about is basically the project of a single graduate student, Becky, in the lab. So she's really excited and motivated to continue working on this. And then the epilepsy work is Kong Oak and Zane. She posed up in the lab, teamed up to try to figure this out. And also some of our collaborators, back in the States. And I do want to say that all of this work, some of the that I do have time to talk about involves doing screening, using very different small molecules and chemical biology, and at UC Southwestern. So there I worked on it with Jay Schneider and Mario met with him too. And they are very excited to have you guys come to Dallas. They wanted me to tell you that all of you should come to Dallas to the upcoming AHA Enterprise Association meeting this fall, where Eric and Jay, right here, and their band will play and introduce you guys to Texas rock and roll. So, thank you very much.
Some historical work that has been done since I started my second life. My second life is improving crystallography. My first life was small molecule crystallography. First of all, to be a big jump. And since 1994, I was involved interested in neurodegenerative disease, in particular Alzheimer's, and more recently, thanks to a collaboration with Professor Catania, then at CISLA, about 15 years ago, more or less, when I started working here at CISLA, I became interested in structural and functional aspects of neuropathic pain. So before I go to the specific details of the two subjects or our contribution, I maybe think this is a seminar in a series of seminars given by collaborators from CNR, from different institutes and different subjects. I just wanted to give some hints of where we are. So most of you know we are based on the synchrotron at Elektra. Our offices are here, and our labs are over this building, and the green line, the XD1 green line, is more or less this side of the ring. Recently, the new facility has been built, the electron laser, that I will show you some hints how can be important for structural biology in the next slide. So the ring has named Elektra. Elektra was the name of this yacht where William Marconi in 1930 actually the Pacific was anniversary, and his daughter, the princess Elektra Marconi, was here at the Alabama Park. And this is part of the ruined yacht recovered since about 20 years ago nearby Lala, because it was somehow sequestered by Germans just after the September 8, 1943, and the Americans just bombarded that area up, and so that was ruined, but now it's just a few meters from here. And the other important point is that William Marconi was our first president. He was the founder of the National Research Council. Okay. So a bit of background, but very quickly, why we use X-ray crystallography, and the main reason is because it's the only technique that will provide us detailed information at the atomic level of any molecule that can be in a specific state, which is observed state, which is critical. Of course, there are also, we'll show you later, more advanced techniques which allow us to get structural information in solution, and this is the so-called small angle X-ray scattering technique. But this is the main technique that's being used since the beginning 1920 or so. And interesting, we are now celebrating this year, the 2014 is the International Year of Crystallography. This year has been dedicated to the by the United Nations, so we have a big celebration going on. And we also recall the first time, the 100th year of discovery of the basic law that is behind the diffraction experiment, which is the so-called Bragg law, which is given here. I will not give mathematical details of this, but just to mention just now, and then we'll see later, that this is one of the not rare cases where the son and the father were acknowledged by Nobel Prize at the same time. So the William Lawrence is the son, and William Henry is the father. They got the Nobel Prize in 1912, just by a simple, by this law, because they were the first to demonstrate that X-ray can be used to determine small crystal structure. In particular, they saw the structure of sodium chloride. Okay? So at that time, it was won a Nobel Prize for that. And on the right, of course, we have another person, which unfortunately was not awarded by Nobel Prize. prize given to Watson Crick and Wilkins for the discovery of the DNA database. Actually, this is this very famous photography 51, which took years of work because the main goal was then to get a reasonable pattern that framed with many aspects related to monster, cargo, cations, and so on. That was a very difficult task. But this was the picture that was somehow in brackets stolen by Maurice Wilkins and shown to Frank Fitzgerald Watson. And then from there, they immediately recognized that there was definitely a legal structure. And looking at the station in the Harvey, and I cannot see the date, but they could immediately see there was a double strand, was DNA pair every 10 pages. Okay? Just to say, this is the early days where mostly work was done on photographic films, but nowadays we have technology which came up, and this is the actual setup of the Architect 21 design that Sinar shared 50% in partnership with Elektra, and up to very highly sophisticated detectors, chronometers, which you must use and for cryostats, and not last, an automatic temperature changer, so you can control the experiment from your home, in principle, and you can do a complete simulation. So the experiment just to show you which is the tribulation of the decussion pattern of a single molecule, and a periodically arranged in a crystal lattice. The same molecule provides a discrete pattern, and this is the type of pattern that we have to deal with in order to get from the crystal through the decussion experiment to the electrodensity mass, which allow us to build a three-dimensional model of our molecule crystal, in this case, proteins. So we have all the ingredients besides one. This is the most important one. So the ingredients that we have from the experimental point of view are the antigens of the wave de facto, but we use the origin of the wave from they were come from. And this is in our scientific language, it's called the phase problem, and it is a equation that I will not give of course today. But knowing this, combining the phases with the amplitudes that we can record, then we can build the electrodensity mass. There are several methods. I will not, of course, give the data. But I wanted to give you is not magic. Now there is a lot of science behind it. And this is just to show you an analogy between an optical light microscope and an X-ray photography experiment. In this case, you have an object, you have a visible light, you have a system of objective lens which will focus the diffuse light and recombine, and you can see in a larger view of your object. This is the thing, but this is done by X-rays. This is the key point where we actually begin. So we have a photographer here, the middleman, who has to do the job of combining the amplitudes and look for things in order to get the image. And this is what I call the mathematical length, because we here the development of mathematical tools in order to simulate the optical length. In other words, there is no length until now that is able to recombine X-ray. Okay, so this is the reason why we are this job. And if you like, in between, there is but I haven't had time to go through it. We have of course electron microscopy, which is a way to focus electron diffraction by electrons. And we get an image which is nowadays much closer to almost a Foxy level, but not yet to the Foxy level. Okay, so our main motto is going from James Christ light photography, and this is a picture of different crystals. So this came to my mind that something that I always say, that protein crystallization is an art, but protein photography is a science. And being an art is very emotional, and very often it's not repetitive, sort of irreproducible. Okay, so this is the reason why we need some technology in order to be able to reproduce crystallization experiments or crystallization screen in a more systematic and reliable way. And this is the reason why robotics came into the game already about 10 years ago or so. And we have some pictures taken from what we have in our lab at Elektra. This is facility shared with Elektra yesterday, and this article about the robotic system for dealing for preparation of the crystallization screen for the setup across different setups, and again also a very useful system for visualization and storage of the crystallization rate. So you don't need to go and look at by eye, but you can from home or from computer periodically look at the crystallization conditions. So why crystallization is art that is already advanced because James Sumner was another guy in 1946, another guy in chemistry, for this discovery that enzymes can decrystallize. Anticrystals were active, and so this means that the enzyme was an active molecule. And actually the enzyme that decrystallized was an urase from J-team, so from this Canavalia X-formis, and this enzyme catalyzed reaction was weird in order to produce carbon dioxide and ammonia. I mean, I cannot see the detail, but the enzyme didn't happen, so still not only not so much the speed of the reaction, but very much reduce the temperature and the reaction of fuel. In absence of the enzyme, the same reaction was at 103, while in presence of the enzyme, it will go down at 21 degrees. So the major point from this crystal were able, as you can imagine, to stand or even earlier, but nobody were able to solve the structure. Okay. And there were some problems related to the crystal. This is a glycoprotein, so therefore you need very highly sophisticated chromatographic technique in order to have a homogeneous preparation of the protein. And this was the successful attempt run by Kaffe Pomeroy from Madras University, that after 83 years for the crystal were obtained, they were able to solve the structure. So they tell you the difficulties in this journey from the protein to the structure. It can be a few days or sometimes even a few hours, it can be years. Okay, so nobody can predict this. I mean, not interesting. So just to let you know how much is known about general structures, in the DVD currently there are considered almost 100,000 structures, and there is some very interesting points that I'd like to point out is the following. Of course, there is a number of proteins increased over the years since 1972 was the database was established, and one of the goals of the structural genomics project was to determine the predicted structure of all proteins belonging to any genome. Okay? But the reason for doing this was because we wanted to know as much as possible about diversity in folding structures. So that was something that was a nightmare actually. This year, the NIH decided to not fund any longer structural genomics projects. Okay? And you can see from this picture actually. So the number of proteins increased over the years, but the number of infos seems to now about 6-7 years, is completely missing. So we don't want structures, but we don't get information that we wanted to discover new worlds. And I applied for this second. So this is really impressive. And the maximum here that you can find is related to the specificity of synchronization activities through very high speed detectors and methods. So you have a combination of the development of all these aspects in order to get this high number branching. One of the reasons that I think is the reason why we are a bit lacking here is that many proteins, which are approximately 10% of the sequence of our general genome, there are only very few available. At the moment, by 2 days ago, there were 466 unique crystal structures. There are many more because complexes with vegans and so on, but unique are only if you compare to this number. You see, we are very little information about this completely different world. And so therefore, maybe this is one of the reasons. And these are also the most difficult to express, modify, and crystallize protein. Overall, we have a sort of lacking time of about 20 years, 25 years between membrane proteins and soluble proteins. Okay. You can interrupt anytime if your question is very important. So, what about the future? Is much more about the future here, so these gigant machines, which are being used in electrolysis. Why this? Because you can even perform crystal structure, getting crystal grown in vivo. Okay, this is one example. This is a processing gene, which is a systemic proteinase, isolated the crystal, this crystal, which is this here, and this is F9 insect cell. So you could detect this crystal inside the cell, and you could hit exactly in this position, and you get this information from the cell. And the value of the crystal is 1 micron size. So we're taking from extremely small crystal. In some cases, there are, like this one, this is a more recently work on a photosynthetic reaction center. They are sub-nanometer. So we have 500 nanometer size crystals. And the problem is that you need many small crystals, because this is what we call in our language serial crystallography. So we have to prepare a suspension of microcrystal. This is the way to the dream that everybody is looking for, to have just a single molecule. Not any longer crystal, not even small crystal, but even single molecule. So in other words, we have to go back to the first spectrum that I showed you, which is diffuse scattering. And so, but now we are more or less much closer to something around a few hundred, few thousand molecules in crystal, compared to the millions of molecules in a normal size. So they are full crystals. These are simply not single isolated single molecules. But that is the way, that is the direction where the technology is pushing. Okay? The other point is that you have to have a very intense spin. This is why HV electrolysis compared to synchronous. And there are a lot of mathematical methodology behind this. I want just to somehow summarize here. So you have to imagine, like a mass spec injector system, where the suspension of the crystal is ejected and the beam catches and the crystals are oriented randomly. So you have to then look at protein images, average those who are close enough in terms of different recognition, and then by the overtime of theory, you can build your model, which is this result. So this is now feasible. The paper just came out at the end of 2013. Unfortunately, we cannot do this experiment here at Electra because the free electrolyzer, this is an electrolyzer that is in UV range, not in X-ray range. But nevertheless, UV is a nice also range of spectroscopic study where you want the 4th dimension, which is the time. So we can form a chemical reaction or protein-protein interaction in time. And we use of femtoseconds. So we are compared to synchrotrons, we do also find the order of milliseconds. On the synchrotrons, you are on the time, you are at the femtosecond. Okay. So I just mentioned this other technique, which is more like where you don't need crystals, but you have a protein solution. And nevertheless, you get sometimes very useful information, particularly when you deal with not just one protein, but macromolecular assemblies. Okay. Proteins or more than machinery, you get at least information on the shape. I cannot go into the data, but this is a quite powerful technique that can be somehow coupled with other techniques like mass spec, electron microscopy, NMR, ultra-radical multiplication effects. Because all these techniques will provide you with some restraints on which you could fit the proper solution that will fit in the best way this scattering course. Because in principle, we are seeking a resolution between, in the best case, between 10 and 30 ounces resolution, so we are far from a solid resolution. But in that range of resolution, the arrangement like this can be a challenge to predict, but if you have restrained by other means, you can somehow reduce the possible solution that will probably fit your solution course, which can be important. Okay, just the last slide, I think, is just to mention that this has been the subject of several Nobel Prize directly or indirectly. I would just already mentioned the two brands, the father and the son, but I also wish to mention another case, which should be here, Roger Conger, who studied the molecular basis of biographic mutation, particularly polymerases, and interviewed his father in 1956, I think, was another prize in medicine for the discovery of DNA polymerase. So this is another case of the father and the son. There are more or less 49 involved in this. They cover one aspect from the discovery of the trade to the fact that crystal becomes the trade, the use of the trade for solving crystal structure and so on. I just wanted to mention this because we are in Italy, and this is the only Nobel Prize in chemistry in Italian. The chemistry crystallography could characterize a very magic material, which some of you that have my age might remember on TV, Gino Ranieri's technique for Moslem, and the factory Moslem was a polymer that Julian discovered and characterized. This was in 1963. Okay, so sorry for this sort of introduction again. Okay, so I will deal mostly with two aspects of neurodegenerative related to Alzheimer's, particularly cholinergic deficit, so acetylcholinesterase inhibition, and in the neuropathic pain, the neuropathic deficit. Somehow try to understand the role of NGF, if we want to NGF on or off, and how we can label this in order to somehow influence or somehow deal with the chronic pain. So Alzheimer's disease, I will not keep name the state, but just wanted to mention that this is very important and more important disease. There are an increasing number of people, usually old people, so there's quite a high percentage of people with more than 85 years old that suffer of this disease. I think that maybe over the years, the number of deaths that for standard, for let's say common disease like cancer is decreasing, or HIV decreasing, like for Alzheimer's disease, a huge increase in percentage of death. What is interesting is that in 1982, the NIH research budget for Alzheimer's was just $20 million. Today, it's $184 billion, so there's a huge amount of money in this. And this is also due to the fact that the direct cost of caring for these people is really a lot. And for this year, was estimated $203 billion. By 2050, it's estimated this will rise increase up to $1.2 trillion. So this is a real problem. So maybe some of you know some other stuff like obesity, right? So the disease causes irreversible chronic decline, and there are a number of mechanisms behind this. The classic symptoms are tumors, so the condition of becoming the bottom of the class, and the crystal strength of the down protein which provide tangles. And there are multiple pathways likely to be involved in TB, which are the cholinergic inflammation, neuropathic deficit, epigenetic factors, and so on. But there is no genetic change that can account for all the clinical development of the age. At the moment, no. So this is still a big factor. These are the number of drugs that have been approved by FDA from different stages. You can start from mild, moderate, and severe. And some of these drugs are more effective according to the stages. You have to see which stage you want to address the disease. And they are from, this is a synthetic compound, this is Arifet. This is galantamine, which is a natural compound. Rivastigmine, and Takis, which was the first on the market, but now is very efficiently used because of the side effects. So I would say that the most common drugs are rivastigmine, galantamine, and Arifet. Venlafaxine is something to be used, but has also some not severe relation with the NMDA receptors. So basically, why we are interested in inhibiting acetylcholinesterase, just according to the so-called cholinergic hypothesis. So we want to compensate with drugs to nicotine cholinergic deficit. And why this? So when acetylcholine is released on the synapses, it will cover mainly two targets. One is the acetylcholinesterase, and the other are the nicotine-generative receptors on the synaptic membrane. And by interacting with these receptors, the ion flow will occur through the cells, and so this will provide the full production of the signal. So what happens when, so somehow the receptors in this view are acting as a delay loop. Okay. Normally, at the end of the day, in a normal person, at the end, all the acetylcholine molecule will be degraded to folate and acetate. And this very much depends on the local concentration of acetylcholinesterase and the receptors. In Alzheimer's disease, one of the hypotheses or somehow some proofs are that the number of receptors on the surface are reduced in number, so the density of the receptors are reduced in number. That's one aspect, and the other aspect, they show less affinity towards acetylcholine. So therefore, the only way to overcome this problem is to not increase the acetylcholine concentration. And this is the reason why we inhibit acetylcholinesterase, in order to have a local increased concentration. Due to the low affinity, we hope that by mass effect, the receptors will bind the acetylcholine will bind the receptor. Then mostly what this will do is to not only channel the organ, the channel, but mostly to control the slow closing state of the channel. There are few molecules that are which besides being inhibitors of acetylcholinesterase, they are also there are evidence that they also act as allosteric protectors of the receptors. So they have a sort of double function. Briefly, which is the mechanism of action of acetylcholinesterase. So this is a esterase, so you have a catalytic diet by sharing histidine and glutamic acid. There is a transfer of the hydrogen from the serine to the histidine. This will provide information on beta-reverse intermediate. Then there will be release of the production of the activated enzyme, the release of the cholate, and then a water molecule will react and regenerate the enzyme through the function of the intermediate again. So the structure was some years ago. The first acetylcholinesterase was isolated and purified from a fish from Cophila mariconica, a ray fish. And this is one of our collaborators.